speaking with Jason Hook of Five Finger Death Punch. That is great to say, because for years I said Jason Hook of Alice Cooper's band and all these other artists. How does it feel to be the guy, a guy now, not just one of these hired guns?
It feels amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no better feeling. This is the A dream, as I say. I always thought of myself as wanting to be an artist.
Right.
I always practiced songwriting, and I was very creative. So to play for other people was really missing something.
Right.
And now, luckily, I'm a very lucky guy. I get very lucky. But Five Finger Death Punch has ended up being my home. And
now, do you get to contribute to the band in terms of song ideas and stuff, or is it still just, hey, just play guitar?
No.
And, okay.
No, I came into the band after the first record when it was
still fresh.
Yeah, it was brand new, and things weren't working out with their other guitar player, and I was playing with Alice Cooper at the time. And
I remember we were sitting backstage in Ottawa, and you said, "I'm going to Five Finger," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, and I made it very clear to them. I said, like, I want to be in a band. I want to be on the creative team. I want to be an equal, and I'll do the work, but I want to be, in a band. So I didn't need another job. I had a job.
Right.
So that's kind of the deal I made, and I came in, and they were very gracious, and we started working on War's the Answer, which was the band's second record. So we all rolled up our sleeves, went in the studio, and just kind of figured out how to work as a team, even though we were all kind of new to each other.
Now, speaking of hired guns, you've made a movie called Hired Guns about guys who come in and replace, like yourself, like Eric Singer and others. Talk to me about that project and what you're trying to say with it.
Well, I've always had a great lust for documentaries.
Right.
I think everybody likes documentaries. I mean, it's just
especially the rock ones.
Yeah, it's fascinating to look behind the curtain and discover things about people that you love for music. Now you're learning all these other things about them, and so we set out to the director and myself, who I met on one of the Five Finger Death Punch tours. He was our videographer, Fran Strine. We were on the bus somewhere touring, I can't remember, and he said, I'm craving to make another documentary. And I said, I want to do one too. I've never tried it. So that was the beginning of it. And I knew that because the subject was hired guns, I knew instantly I had a Rolodex. I could call this guy and this guy. Yeah, I've already got, 3/4 of the content in my mind, right? So that's how it started.
Now, it's been in film festivals. When will we see it on like a streaming service, a Netflix? Is that coming?
Yeah, we have a sales agent that's getting ready to run the campaign, and obviously we want to get it picked up. We'd love to see it go theatrical. That would be the highlight, because the movie was really made for theaters. I mean, there's a lot of, we had it mixed at Skywalker Ranch, and it's really it sounds great. There's a lot of rock and roll and live jams and stuff happening in the film. So in a perfect world, you'd be able to see it on the big screen with the big sound.
Which would make sense.
Yeah.
In terms of creatively, was it as satisfactory as being in a band, or is it a whole different experience?
It's a different experience. I mean, it's kind of, it taught me a lot about, running a team.
Right.
Because my position was more in a producer role than, being on the other side of the camera. So, we had to hire a bunch of people, and we were coordinating, and so it was kind of like that. And it's exhausting, and real work, and there was tension and all the things that happen with other businesses. But at the end, it was, I don't even care. I wasn't financially motivated to do this project. My desire was to just try that and strike it off my bucket list. I made a movie.
Is that sort of a one and done, or do you have the bug now and you want to think of maybe going into like producing a Five Finger Death Punch video, for example?
I would do any of that again if my heart believed in it.
In the project?
Yeah. I'm not motivated so much by dollars.
Right.
Because these things take a long time to complete. So, and you're not making money that whole time. So you have to be driven by the feeling that you have in your heart. So if I believed in something new, yeah, I would. Sure, why not?
Now, talk to me about the experience about being a full-time member and the guy, because you lived some great experiences. With some of the artists, you were playing the massive stages to How is it different? Because now you get recognized, whereas before you could show up, do your gig in front of 20,000, then you could go have a hot dog next door, nobody would know.
You know what? It's all good stuff. I don't complain about that part of it. It certainly is. I mean, you have to sort of develop a second set of tools to deal with
the non-stop.
You're outnumbered. That's all I can.
Always.
You're outnumbered. I mean, you're playing in town, you're walking around, and everybody's there to see you. Obviously, with social media, people get used to seeing what you look like, and they can recognize you. So, I mean, but it's all good stuff. It's like, you know, you win the lottery, you don't complain about having to pay the tax.
Right.
It's part of it, you know.
Now, Got Your Six was the last album in 2015.
Yeah.
Where are we in the process of the next Five Finger Death Punch album?
Well, we're probably about half done.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're workaholics. We went right back in the studio. You know, every time we talk about taking a break, it doesn't feel right. If you're sitting around, it just feels like, why are we sitting around? We could be doing something, you know? I think there's a bit of a, you know, we're always concerned that we might lose momentum or people will stop caring. So I think we're like overachievers by nature. You know, we're always doing something.
Is it a bit of a tough spot to be in? Because, you know, you did have that situation with the singer, and you know, we all saw that on the internet. Did you sit back and go, maybe we should take a break, let him get to where he needs to be before we head back out? Or is it like, hey, let's get right back, let's keep everybody busy, let's keep going?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course we're always paying attention to, you know, how Ivan is doing.
Right.
Look, everybody moves at different speeds.
Right.
You know, he likes to get up and work from 6 p.m. to 5 in the morning.
Right.
Well, you know, that everybody's different, and you have to allow everyone to be themselves and do what they do best when they're comfortable. So we can always make tons of music, and he comes in when he's comfortable and starts layering himself on top.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we all have to do everything together all the time. And he's better than ever right now. You know, he's been great. So,
in terms of, I mean, we've all read what happened in the situation and what led to it. What about the after? In terms, have things changed? Is this going to re-happen down the road, or have we passed that at this point?
We're definitely past it. I think that needed to happen.
Right.
Nobody can really understand the feeling. You know, when you're on tour, it sounds like it's just one big party.
Right.
But it can be very tiring. You know, the constant picking up and moving and shuffling and moving, and
these constant interviews. I mean, you've just done like 3 before me, right?
Yes. So. And what I notice about this, because we're all kind of experiencing it for the first time, you know, everybody can try to imagine what it's like when you have success, but everybody wants something.
Right.
That's what I've learned, is that everybody wants something. Like, hey, I'm doing a solo record. Could you do a solo? Hey, it's my wife's birthday. Could you call her? I mean, everybody wants something, and it can become overwhelming.
Yes, it can.
And when you're on tour for 2 months, it can you just start to, you know, process things where, you know, there's no escaping it. You are on that tour, it has to complete, and you're tired. And so sometimes people find ways to
relieve the stress.
Relieve the stress, right. And that's...
So let me ask you, what does Jason want? Because, you know, when I knew you in the past, you wanted to be in a band, you got there.
Yeah.
You wanted to make the movie, you made the movie. Yeah. And you also made solo albums.
Yeah. What I want now is to be happy,
right,
and peaceful. Because what I do is I fill up every hole, trying to, you know, maximize opportunity and stay busy. And now it's kind of like, if I have time off from the band, I want to do nothing. It's very important. I want to, you know, play on the motorcycles, you know, clean my swimming pool, whatever it is. But that's very important now, because we've reached a point where, you know, we don't really need anything else. There's everything is taken care of. We have everything that we want. I don't mean that to sound pompous.
No, but you really have. I mean, listen, the first time I saw you, you were at a Sony sound stage in Toronto playing for 10 people
Yeah.
to try to get a deal, and now you're headlining a festival. I mean,
We have everything we want. So now for me, what I want is to actually enjoy some of the things that aren't work related. Really,
yeah,
there you go.
there you go.
You
And
know?
there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, thanks,
Always
Mitch.
a pleasure.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Cheers.